Hi everybody, Monique here, Intuitive Soul Savant. I know, I'm okay, here we go. How are we going, everybody? You can see me in the little box up here. I just want to bring the chart up. Today's video is regarding the full moon in Sagittarius. Okay, so there's our chart. Don't worry about the ascendant or the houses, because that's Australia. That's for Australian time. So wherever you are in the world, the houses will be a little bit different. Now, it's interesting that many astrologers online have said that the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is the biggest conjunction of the year and blah, 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 blah. But when you look at this chart, I think I'm more a personal astrologer rather than, well, no, I do look at the collective. However, on videos, I'm more about how, you know, the energy is going to personally affect us, because I'm so highly sensitive and emotional that that's all what's happened all my life is this energy. So, you know, when we do, when we look at this full moon chart, it's jam-packed. It is jam-packed. All right. So we're going to just go through the chart quickly. Now, look, we're still in there. See my pointer? We're still in this case of you know, all these planets jammed up in a quarter of our horoscope. And yes, we've got Pluto behind there, you know, holding it all up, I guess, for us all in the collective. And, you know, full moon, obviously the sun is opposing the moon here. Okay. So we've got 2 degrees, 55 minutes and 12 seconds, okay, in Sagittarius. That is where the full moon's at. So with astrology, if it's over 30 minutes, we go to the next degree. If it's under 30 minutes, we backtrack to the earlier degree, okay? So we're calling this a 3-degree full moon in Sagittarius. Okay, now what else is going on? I mean, it's not hard to see with all this jam-packed, but if you're new to astrology, it can be quite overwhelming to look at astrology chart. That's why I don't put so many of them up there, because I'm more about the energy. But let's talk about the energy. So we've got the sun here, okay, opposing the moon, exact, all right. Sagittarius, Gemini sun, Sagittarius moon. We're talking about the mind here, and we're talking about the higher mind here. We're talking about our local area here, and we're talking about our international, our global theme as well. All right, so that's your Gemini and that's your Sag. We're talking local community, and then with Sagittarius, we're talking international community. Okay, we're talking the 3D mind, the lower mind. I don't like to say lower mind because Gemini isn't lower mind. All right, we're talking the mind, the 3D mind, and then with Jupiter, it's not quite the 5D mind, but you could call it the 4D mind with Jupiter. All right, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this 3D business. All right, so we've got the sun opposing the moon, and that is a full moon. All right, now we've also got the sun in Gemini here, and it's conjuncting Mercury. All right, now Mercury's still in Taurus, 29 degrees 40, critical degree they call it. Okay, 29 degrees, critical degree. We've got the Mercury in Taurus and the sun in Gemini. So the sun has already exactly conjunct, right? So we call that a separating conjunction. So it's already peaked, the energy. The sun's moved past Mercury when it was in Taurus, the sun, and it's already peaked, but the energy's still around, we could say. All right, so it's a separating conjunction. Now the sun in Gemini is also conjuncting Jupiter, and there's our little symbol for Jupiter. It's also a separating conjunction. So it's already peaked the energy, okay, but it's still in action. Okay, let's look at the moon. So we come over here, the moon, 3 degrees we're rounding off to, and the moon is opposing Venus here. So the moon, on its way very close to becoming full, will make a conjunction to Venus. Okay, so it'll conjunct Venus and then it'll become full in Gemini. Right? Yes. So then the moon also opposes this Jupiter. Right? So the moon will oppose Jupiter and then become full, right? It's a 3-degree orb, these here, the moon and Venus and Jupiter. That's a 3-degree orb, but it'll be a separating opposition. I hope I didn't say conjunction. Opposition, you can see that. Moon opposite Venus, moon opposite Jupiter. Separating, okay? So on its way to becoming full, it's going to make, the moon's going to make this exactly, okay? So that's such a building energy. But remember, our oppositions, it's a push-pull, 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 push-pull. So we sort of can't really say thanks Venus, thanks Jupiter and the moon, okay? Because there'll be a push-pull, all right? And the moon is also, and this is very wide, a very wide degrees of 9 degrees with Uranus here in Taurus, right? So we've still got Mercury, Uranus, Jupiter and Venus in Taurus, right? So that's the moon with those oppositions to the planetary energy here. So Mercury here, right, at 11 degrees of Taurus is widely, it's separated. Mercury's already made it square to Pluto here, retrograding in Uranus. Okay, it's already done it. It's separating. It's 9 degrees. Okay, but because the sun is in Gemini, you know, this Mercury plays a part, and so does Jupiter, because the moon's going to be full in Sagittarius, and the ruler for Sagittarius is Jupiter. Okay, so they'll be the Lord, the backbone, you could say. Jupiter will be the backbone, you could say. Now look here, I'm going to jump ahead. Look at this exact conjunction, a few minutes, all right? Jupiter and Venus together in Taurus, which is wonderful, wonderful news. However, it's going to be opposing that moon, the emotional energy, okay? So as far as the Jupiter and Venus coming together exactly conjunct, that's great news for expansion, for really the beautiful things. We know what Jupiter's like. It's the Lord of benefits, okay? And then Jupiter is the sweetener, you know, of all of those benefits. However, it's going to be opposing the moon, all right? So the moon is our emotional body. Sagittarius is bigger than Ben-Hur, all right, because its ruler is Jupiter. So, you know, I cannot deny that this week with all these conjunctions will bring up emotional energy, all right? Even if it's happy energy. Say you won the lottery with this Jupiter and this Venus in Taurus. My God, talk about expansive full moon energy in Sag. You would be over the moon, all right? Over the moon. So it works both ways. Good news, bad news. There's an emotional charge, and it's a Sagittarius emotional charge. That's a fire sign. You know, we have our water signs, but this is a fire sign, and they get fired up. Fire signs get fired up. And to me, that's emotional energy. They might not be sitting down in the corner crying, but whoa, the energies are flying with fire signs, all right? So take that into account. Good news, bad news. It's all the same. It is what it is, all right? But there's an expansion of that energy. So I did jump ahead there because I really wanted to, you know, that Venus conjunct Jupiter, it happens about 6 hours before the full moon. So it's all active. So we talked about Mercury squaring Pluto. So Venus conjunct Jupiter, all right, we've talked that. And then Venus is also conjuncting Uranus here. It is a 6 degrees, right? Venus and Jupiter are also conjuncting Uranus. It's 6 degrees. It's a separating conjunction. So that means the energy's already peaked, right? We have separating transits or applying transits, meaning it's on its way to make it the exact, or it's already made the exact and it's moving forward, okay? Now, Mars is still active here. We've got Mars in Aries. It's a 3 degrees separating conjunction, but I've talked about that this week. We're still working with the nodes in Aries and Libra, all right? And Mars is also applying a conjunction. It's 4 degrees. So Mars is moving onto Chiron in Aries, and that's going to activate some healing, all right? We're forever healing. We're forever processing our energy, and we have an awakening of one thing, and then we move forward, and then we've got a process, and emotional energy comes up, and then we have the penny drop and boom, we move forward again. So Mars is heading for Chiron, and we'll discuss that when that happens. And Mars is the activator, okay? Mars is full power. I've done the Mars Aries number 9 video, and it's just explosive energy, right? Without judgment. We're not saying good or bad. It's energy, all right? Action. To take action. It's action energy. All right. So we've got this jam-packed Taurian energy. Now, the sun is in Gemini, 3 degrees. Now, that conjuncts my North Node in the 10th house. So that's really interesting that this full moon is actually landing on my South Node in the 4th house. So to me, that says, that 4th house where the South Node is, I think it's 5 degrees away from my natal moon in Sag. Okay, so this is my annual full moon, you could say. All right. Well, full moons are about finishing up. All right. I'm going to turn this chart off now. So can you see all this energy here? We're going to have the sun moving. The sun is in Gemini. Venus going into Gemini. Jupiter going into Gemini. And that's all this week. That's this week. These 3 will be ingressing into Gemini. Then Mars will ingress into Gemini. Mercury will ingress into Gemini. Then Mars eventually will get to Gemini. And whoa, I keep saying Gemini energy is going to be lit. The house that you've got Gemini in is going to be lit. And then in 1 year, July 7th, 2025, Uranus will be going to ingress into Gemini. And then all Taurus will see after that is Chiron. And it won't see Neptune for a very long time. It'll see Saturn in a few years, the Taurian house, okay? So we're moving forward, but we're still all jammed up. We are still all jammed up, okay? So I'm going to stop sharing now. I don't want to confuse you. All right. So we have good aspects too. I'm going to tell you the good aspects. They're just the gnarly aspects, you know. I really like working with the gnarly aspects, don't I? You know, your conjunctions, your oppositions, your squares. They're your gnarly aspects, we could say, okay? But as far as positive aspects go, we've also, exactly with this full moon, We've got Venus in Taurus exactly sextiling Neptune. And because Venus is conjuncting Jupiter in Taurus, well, it is also sextiling Neptune in Pisces. And these are that critical degree, that 29 degrees. Venus loves Neptune, Neptune loves Venus, Venus loves Jupiter, Neptune loves Jupiter, and Jupiter loves Neptune, all right? So it's jam-packed full of energy, and you couldn't even say that it's positive or negative. There's other good transits. You know, the sun in Gemini is separating, so it's still, the energy's still around from a trine with Pluto in Aquarius, okay? So that energy is still active. The moon is trining Neptune. It is separating. So as that moon opposes all of, you know, the Jupiter and the Uranus and the Venus, the moon will be making a beautiful trine to Neptune before it gets full. Okay, 3 degrees before it becomes exactly full. Okay, so there's the moon making a trine to Neptune and a sextile to Pluto. All right, applying, right? So once this moon in Sag sextiles Pluto retrograde, it's about a 1 degree. Okay. Venus and Taurus, they're trining Pluto. They're coming up to a trine with Pluto. Once Venus moves into Taurus, 2 degrees, it will make a trine. So there's energy coming and energy finishing, if you know what I mean. But it's jam-packed, guys. It's jam-packed. Jupiter ingresses into Gemini this weekend. All right, so I don't think I can say from my experience, oh yes, Jupiter, Uranus conjunct Jupiter is the big news of the year. Oh my God, this energy is full on. Now, who's going to be feeling all this energy the most? Well, obviously the mutable signs. Okay, so if you're early degrees of Gemini, Sag, Pisces, and Virgo, right, your early degrees, okay, this is really activating your chart. All right. And the other air signs and fire signs, you know, you're heading into the nice zone. But, you know, I like the gnarly aspects because they make things happen and change, you know. And I'm going to do a video about Jupiter ingressing into Gemini this week, all right. So we've got to get our mindset into that expansive Jupiterian consciousness, that where we're headed, all right? Where are we headed? Well, with all this going into Gemini, this is going to activate the mind. But as I said, it's the 3D mind. And then your 5D mind is Uranus, all right? Because it's the intuitive, out of the blue, flash consciousness. And it's also collective consciousness, the big picture. And it's also galactic consciousness, the bigger picture. All right, so all of this happening and moving all into Gemini, even though it's a Sag full moon, you know, this is change. This is change. As I said, Taurus moves very slowly. We had all of those planets in Taurus and Uranus there, you know, picking up the Taurian energy and trying to unstick it from the 3D, all right? Because Taurus is Earth, and Taurus likes just what it can see. It doesn't like woohoo. It's not into it. You go to my Taurus video, it's the least video watched because Taurians are too busy working, making money, looking after their security, you know, to be worried about what we're discussing here on the internet. Higher consciousness, consciousness expansion. Okay, when Uranus went into Taurus, a lot of Taurians got rocked and their consciousness did expand. But they're used to that energy now, 6 years of it. You know, they're used to that energy. Okay, so, you know, we've all, whatever part is the Taurus part of our lives, it has been plowed. All right, and now we're going to be heading into the Gemini energy, and that energy will be plowed. So have a look at your chart, have a look at the degrees. It's all very close. A lot of the energy has already peaked, okay, because the conjunctions, opportunities are separating. Just 1 minute. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. Everything is there for you. And I've got someone at the door, so I will have to go. But you all have a beautiful full moon. And if there's any questions, leave them in the comment box. Please like, it really helps me. But well wishes on this full moon. Okay. Thank you.